So here's another problem that looks a lot like the first one. In fact, if you look at that other one, they have the same things. They have 2 steps. And you've got a number that's being added, positive 12 on this one. And then you also have a number that's being multiplied. On the last one, it was multiplied by, I forget the coefficient, but this one has a coefficient of -5. And that's why this one is so different. So if I asked you to solve this without anyone ever explaining it to you, 100% of you would get it wrong. And that's because, well, I just haven't taught you the next step. Unless you found it out somewhere else, you wouldn't know what to do, right? So to illustrate this, let me start with an example. Because it has subtraction. So if I had like 10, take away what number is less than 5? Start with that. 10 take away what number is less than 5? Take a guess. Put it in the chat or unmute your mic. Tell me a number. What number can you subtract from 10? And the answer would be less than 5. Okay, so let me write that down. There's other numbers, though, aren't there? We've got 6. What else besides 6? Yep, 8 works. How about 7? How about 5.1? Yep, 5.1 works. So 6, 8, 7. How about a million? 1,000 million. 1 million. 100. 100 works. Good job, Alfredo. All right, so those are all solutions. Now, let's go ahead and solve it. So I have 10, take away x, is less than 5. And if I go ahead and put my balance in the problem, oops, I meant to switch colors. If I go ahead and balance my problem and I subtract 10, both sides, how much is 5 take away 10? Do you know? 5 take away 10. These cancel. 5 take away 10. 5 take away 10. I think it's -5. And then I put my symbol in the middle. Don't forget this minus stays with the x, so we have the opposite of x is less than -5. Well, how do I get rid of the minus stuck to the x? Well, let's put a little 1 in here, right? And I divide or multiply by -1. It'll go away either way. And these cancel. I'm left with x is less than, and a negative divided by a negative is a +5. Okay. But my solution says the number has to be less than 5. However, as Jacob put in the chat, it has to be a number greater than 5. All the numbers you picked were greater than 5. 6, greater than 5. 7, 8, 5.1, 1 million, 100. They're all greater than 5. My answer is exactly wrong. So to explain this, one of the ways I try to explain it is just by telling you about a former career that I had before I became a math teacher. Back in the day, before rock and roll, back in the 30s, when I was a musician, I made up this song. It went like this, and I'll sing it to you. When you multiply or divide by a negative number, you change the sense of the sign. And the crowd would go wild, and they'd cheer, flip the sign! Hooray! Flip the sign, right? What do they mean, flip the sign? Well, you take this little sign here, the less than, and let me pick a different color. You flip it over and make it greater than. So x is greater than 5 is the solution. X greater than 5. And that's what it means to flip the sign. When do you flip the sign? Whenever you multiply or divide by a negative. And as you can see, my song, it wasn't that big a hit because I had to pick a new career, right? But the point is that you have to flip the sign whenever you multiply or divide by a negative. What if you add a negative? Nope, don't have to flip it. There's one other time, and that's when you switch sides of the problem. That'll come in the last video in this series. I'll show you that one. But for now, it's just whenever you multiply or divide by a negative. Okay? So let's try that on this problem. I've got a 12 out here. Again, we start farther away from the variable, so I get rid of the 12. I'm going to get rid of the -5 also, but first I'm going to take care of the 12. I'm isolating the variable. And these go away, and I end up with -5k is greater than 72 take away 12 is 60. Boy, that green doesn't really show up on the brown, does it? Let's try a different color. So now I'm going to divide by -5, and when I do, these cancel. And I'm left with k. But don't forget the song, flip the sign, is less than. And 60 divided by negative 5 is negative 12. And what does that look like on a graph? Well, you put the 0 in the middle. Negative 12 is up over here, negative 12. You could also put positive 12 if you want to. I mean, just to show balance. You don't have to, though. And then at the negative 12, I'm going to put a donut or an open circle, and I'm going to go this way. Okay? And that's how you solve one when you have to multiply or divide by a negative.